able leadership of the Honorable Minister, Honorable Rotimi Chibuike Amechi, has been providing desired supervision, enabling this unprecedented achievement. Ladies and gentlemen, we at NIMASA invite you all to witness another milestone as our Director General, Dr. Dakuku Adol Peterside, steps forward to present to you the first ever Nigeria's Industry Maritime Forecast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I welcome the representative of the Honorable Minister of Transportation, our brother and friend, Mr. Galadanchi. Please, can you stand up and take a bow, the Honorable Minister? I'll quickly go to the presentation of the Nigeria Maritime Forecast for the year 2018-2019. I'll start by sharing with you things I think you already know. It's a fact that over 95% of Nigeria's international trade by volume is conveyed aboard ships and handled by our country's seaports. It is thus right to say that the blue economy is particularly important to us, with particular emphasis on maritime transportation, and it is indeed the anchor for trade and development in our country. We recognize the strategic importance of the maritime industry to the Nigerian economy. It is indeed an engine of growth without dispute. It is on that basis that we're delighted to present the maiden edition of Nigeria Maritime Industry Forecast for 2018-2019, which we consider long overdue. The industry forecast presents the agency's view of key developments in the Nigerian economy and in the maritime industry, as well as an outlook for the key parameters that drive the maritime industry. This maiden edition of the annual Maritime Industry Forecast covers the period of 2018-2019, and as such has been titled appropriately, Recovery, Elections and Beyond, Opportunities and Challenges. This edition also focuses on maritime activity, and it sets out to provide a forecast of the demand to be placed on maritime facilities as a result of the rapid development in commercial activities, especially in the oil and gas industry. It further draws attention to the prominence of maritime facilities as a priority area in trade and development policy agenda of the industry and by extension our economy. In summary, this report is focused on characterizing the current state and outlook of the Nigerian economic and business environment, as well as discussing the drivers, emerging opportunities, and challenges of the industry in order to provide an assessment and empirical prediction of industry performance. The Nigerian economy resumed growth in 2017 after contracting steeply in 2016. I'm sure you listened to Dr. Salami. And by the second quarter of 2017, we saw the first expansion in output growth in 6 quarters, a modest 0.72% after contracting 0.91% in the first quarter of 2017. That was the first real growth we experienced. By the third quarter of last year, growth had improved significantly to 1.4%. In other climes, that's not much. In our own climb, considering where we're coming from, that's a great achievement. The economy is expected to post a full year expansion just estimated at between $5 billion and $6 billion annually. And according to the Ministry of Transportation, the maritime component of the oil and gas industry is reportedly worth an estimated $8 billion, further reflecting the preeminence and prominence of the Nigerian maritime sector relative to the economy. The importance of the maritime transport subsector to the Nigerian economy is also recognized in seaborne transportation, oceanic extractive resource exploitation, and export processing zones. There will be a number of key regulatory developments in the maritime sector in the years under review. 5 important bills, amongst others affecting the maritime industry, will most likely be passed by the National Assembly in the year under review. They are undergoing different legislative processes at the moment. One of such bills is the anti-piracy bill. This will speak to safety and security within our maritime domain. The other one is a bill recently introduced at the National Assembly, the Nigerian Maritime Development Bank. No one can predict exactly what will be the outcome of that, but we are looking at it from 3 perspectives: from the pessimistic view, where it is not passed into law; from the optimistic view, where it is passed to law; and the baseline is that the bill doesn't progress beyond where we are now. Of course, the Inland Fisheries Amendment Act is also before the National Assembly. Then the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Amendment Bill 2016 is before the National Assembly. And finally, the all-important Cabotage Act Amendment Bill. Now, for each of these bills, they will have different implications for the industry. Some might be positive, others might also be negative. Recall also that during the period in consideration, 2018-2019, it covers the election period. We'll be coming from recession to recovery, and we'll be facing election. And there are 3 possible scenarios with the election. Election goes on well. Maybe the incumbent is re-elected. That's one possible scenario. Or the opposition wins the election. That's another possible scenario. Or there may be a stalemate. Each of them will have different impacts on the maritime industry, and it's something you can't ignore. And so the period 2019, of course, it will culminate in post-election environment. Like I said earlier, each of these ones will have different implications for the industry. But in 2019, we'll have gone past the election period by the 2nd quarter of 2019. Now, this will have impact both on our international trade and, of course, the local industry. The second major challenge within the period will be the domestic economic conditions, which speaks to domestic economic growth and associated growth in trade, availability and access to foreign exchange, as well as developments in domestic maritime regulation. The forecast will also speak to, and this is key, emerging opportunities for the Nigerian maritime industry, which is actually the thrust of the forecast, to help our players, whether investors, stakeholders, regulators, take advantage of the opportunities that will emerge and ensure that we contribute more to the economy, create jobs for our people, as well as create wealth. Maritime business activities, as you're already aware, compete globally at the level of the sub-industry, whether it's in finance, whether it's in insurance, and whether it's in law. A key driver of competitiveness is the productivity and efficiency benefits from the geographic clustering of these business activities. The factors identified as drivers of opportunities in the maritime sector include geographic factors, availability of skilled labor force. This, of course, explains why, as NIMASA, as the maritime regulator and promoter of our country, we are making substantial investments in grooming the next generation of seafarers as well as the next generation of players in the industry, because we recognize that the skilled labor force will play an important role going forward in the industry. Then the other aspect of it is an efficient and engaging regulatory environment. If you notice, lately there's been a shift in the way we regulate the industry. Before now, the emphasis is on compliance, compliance, compliance. But there's been a shift on engaging industry players. Compliance remains important, but even in accomplishing our compliance mandate, The new approach is that we must continuously engage with